Morning, everybody.
Morning.
All right. It is a Monday, June the 10th. As y'all know, had a lot going on in the county for quite a while. And that's one of the reasons we're meeting here today. Tell you what, Brother Carl, why don't you just offer your prayer this morning? It's Monday. Let's get it started off right.
Amen.
Thank you, the God who's faithful, always there, you're always prepared. One of my prayer unit ways you find us faithful and we're ask you to find to us. Each one has different places that are serving, different things we're doing, different decisions we're making. Would you find us faithful, Lord, for you're blessed with a great responsibility to our community. Lord, I ask you to join us today, watch over us, and you protect us, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that you care about what happens to us. Father, I ask this all in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Carl.
Dee, I like your koozie.
Well, two things. First of all, budget time's coming up. Y'all all know that. So we get extremely popular during budget time. Then we get extremely hated after budget time. So just think about that in a minute. What do we got to do? And that was what the reason we're meeting here today to discuss what our future needs are. Not really sure what the population is, Catherine. I think it's around 120 for the county. Maybe it's 150. I'm not really sure. You know, if I go by with what numbers I get from the school districts, maybe 150 is about right. Some things change in what the county has as far as the direction goes with the population. We get over 225,000 or 200,000, one or the other, then our direction changes because of what we're mandated to provide. We're trying to get ahead of the game a little bit, and right now by doing this, we are ahead of the game. At least we're having a conversation. And understand this. None of this is personal, it's business. And this is a business. And we're expected to do our jobs as best we can with what we have to operate with. You know, our funding comes in from several different directions. One, ad valorem taxation. Nobody likes that.
Okay.
I don't, but I gotta pay it too. Sales tax, minimum, just a minimal amount, not many. Grants, we get a lot of grants, but you have to work for them. You know, recently we got, $21.3 million just to work on drainage alone in this county. It's never been done before, but it took 7 years of work to get it. And I'm talking about 7 years of work for these guys here to get it. Now we're gonna be ahead of that game somewhat. Then we get down to the. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Then we get down to the point to where we're looking at not just departments in general, but departments in particular. You know, the sheriff's department, the constable's offices, providing the needs we have to provide. I feel we have to provide. And then I got this one pterodactyl that's climbed on a fence. And we've been battling this sheriff for what about the last 4.5, 5 years. It's called the jail. I'll go back in time just a little bit so you get a better idea. When we had a jail contractor operating the jail, you know, it was one of these things where they operated the jail according to the jail standards or state commission on jail standards as best they could, but their mindset was to turn a profit. That's it. We're not in the profit business here. So as we eased along, we had different contractors come in. I mean, the last one Sheriff, they changed so much up in 10 years, I can't remember all of them, but even with one, the last one we had, their regional director and I worked together at TDCJ, and he was mad about the way it was being operated. So much to the point where he quit because he felt that we were not getting the service that we should be provided by that company. And in the meantime, I've been to Austin at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. Sheriff always goes, Chief Knotts goes, Greg goes with me sometimes. And we get a good royal chewing about the way the jail's being operated. At one point, we finally sat down together and said, stop the madness. We're going to take over the jail. Where we once had done this before many years ago. And then we decided to use an outside contractor to operate the jail. And it was working great until the profit margin started to slip for the operators. And then it became a little bit more difficult for those operators to justify having a small jail under their concern. We have what, 285 beds, Sheriff, roughly? Yeah, and they're full. We got inmates in 5 or 6 counties now and 2 parishes. I want you to consider what the operation expense of that is when they have to turn up in court. And majority of what we have in jail right now are felonies. I would say probably 99%.
Yes, sir.
Are felonies. So they have to be there. And these inmates have learned how to play one miraculous game to where I'll just wait here and I'll have my right to a speedy trial, whatever that might be. Whenever that trial was finally scheduled, they might have been sitting in jail for 1.5 years at our expense. And then finally get called before the bench and they cut a deal then, when they were offered a deal 1.5 years prior. You see the game? I mean, I can't blame them for being convicts.
And the last trial judge had been in there 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
This is every day. I don't know if y'all see this happening or not, but we do because we see the numbers. So the other things, you look at the expense to go and pick these guys up, and well, ladies and gentlemen, up from an outside source jail. You know, that's an extra burden on the county to go pick them up, bring them back to the jail here, let them sit for 2 or 3 days to finally see a judge, and then some kind of adjudication happens, hopefully. And then sometimes it doesn't. They get a reset, go right back, starts over again. COVID was not good to us. I'm not making excuses, but Chief, it wasn't good. It put an undue burden on everyone, especially in the jail business. TDC started closing some of their facilities. So I think it was last Thursday or Wednesday, I get a call from the sheriff. And of course, again, the state jail commission's here doing an inspection and just clobbering us. I can't say any nicer. They're doing the job because we're supposed to run a jail that, well, is in compliance in all features. And even with what we were told we needed to fix, we fixed quickly. But yet you still have that burden. Those things take time and take money. We looked at our options long enough. Talked to commissioners on occasions about it. And we're going to build a new jail. There it is. We started on the process about 1.5 years. On another one of my wonderful visits to Austin and visiting with the State Jail Commission, and a needs assessment was performed. At that initial needs assessment, the number came back, we need a 350 bed jail. Well, Constable Harkness, you know good and well, 350 beds ain't gonna get it, okay? Where are you gonna put anybody? You arrest them? That's your job. You do it. You do a great job at doing it. But where are you gonna put them? Again, we have to outsource. So we went back and looked at the considerations that were applied by the jail commission, and some things just didn't click. One was state highway, or the State Highway 99 and the growth of the west side of the county. They didn't consider that. It's kind of like deer in the headlight look. The second thing was developments. Well, Colony Ridge is one of them. River Ranch is another down south. And anything in between, because we get developments coming in once a week, maybe twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, where developers are saying that we bought 1,500 acres. Okay. And we're gonna build a residential development there. Okay. You know, the only one that they really haven't started hitting on very hard was Targeted area. But that's coming. Mr. Hunter, it's coming. You know that. You've got some small ones there. But yet we still have to perform our duties. So you look at that and you look at what came back as far as the needs assessment. And so on the second go round in discussing this with Mr. Woods at the commission in Austin, Sheriff was there, Greg was there with me, Chief Knox was there with me. We discussed it again. Number came back for 2030, what a jail population would need to be at around 525 beds. 2040, 815. Y'all know the price tag on that? Anybody? Feel
Bunch
it?
of commas.
Sir?
There's a bunch of commas.
Yeah, it probably, if we built it today, started right now with a contract in our hand, around 200 million. If we start in earnest, which our endeavor to be starting in earnest would be in October when the new budget hits. That would give us the opportunity to go out for funding for the entire project. Also the funding, you know, which would include design fees, building construction, land acquisitions where needed. You're probably looking at 225 to 250 million by the time it finally hits the book to let a contract. And then we're still looking at 3 years after that contract's let to finish the project. I'm not a quitter. Never have been, not gonna be today. If that's what it takes for us to do this, we're gonna have to sit back and look at what we're doing on law enforcement side, because it's gonna be expensive. And I can tell you right now, just the funding alone and the debt service alone, which we've cut way down in the last 10 years. You know, I know when Greg and I walked in the door and Leon, you know, we had a substantial debt service and we trimmed it down to where there's only one thing left. And that's this building you're sitting in today and the annex across the street. The new annex up in Colony Ridge, Zach, that'll be paid for by ARPA funds. And it will be built. I'm hoping that we'll kick that off in the next 30 days. But that'll also suffice the sheriff's department, constable's office, and permitting. Multi-purpose in itself is necessary because of the growth. So what else? What else could we do if we build this facility, which will be right back here? Would we add some other buildings to it? I think we should. We've looked at it. I've discussed it a little bit with only one commissioner because it's all I can talk about business with it, unless we're in this setting. Could we add a permitting office and the tax office and get out of the rent business? Because rent business is expensive. Could we also add maybe a driver's license office? Driver license, it's not an apostrophe, it's just GRIVER. I've been corrected on that numerous times. Sure, we could. But it's all the projected growth that is aiming us in this direction. Can't do anything about it. It's coming whether we like it or not. Last week, had a meeting with, Commissioner Ramsey over in Precinct 3, Harris County, just over drainage. You know, it was wonderful discussion. And, we're just gonna talk about, you know, where the people are coming from. Well, they're coming out of Houston. I mean, yeah, we've got some coming from south of the border, no doubt, but also areas of Houston that I grew up around, and you did too. They're moving out here because they want to get to a spot where they have like cultures, which is fine. We also have people moving in from Oregon, California, Washington State, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and New York. And when they come here, they're expecting the same services that they had where they came from. Well, we're rural and we don't have a lot of money. And looking at what our projections are for revenue this year, it wasn't that big of an increase. And I suspect that a lot of that was due to the economy. You know, mortgage interest rates went up, so therefore building construction went down. Developments are a little bit slower coming in than what they once were. That doesn't hurt my feelings at all because it's something that affects all of us. But yet, we see what our projected growth is and what our projected revenues could be, and we still had to apply those accordingly to every department. Road and Bridge needs more. Constables need more. Sheriff needs more. Ms. Chambers' office needs more. The DA's office especially probably needs more. We need one more court added. That would ease the burden somewhat. I don't know when the legislature will get that to us. But these are things I want you to be cognizant of, that none of this is personal. It's just business. It's just business, and it's our job to do our business as best we can and not break the bank. What would a facility that I've just discussed cost us per year in debt service loan? About $7 billion. That hurts, y'all. You know, it really does. But yet, if we don't do it, where are we going to end up in another 2 or 3, 4 years with more of a necessity? Design criteria on HL of this nature. I grew up in TDCJ, and I know there's 2 ways you do it. One is direct supervision, and another is indirect supervision. I would anticipate we would consider an indirect supervision category where you do more with cameras and automatic doors. So we could save a little bit of money there in personnel staffing. And especially on the maintenance aspect too, with an old jail that was there when Greg was sheriff, brand new sheriff in 95. When were you sheriff? 95?
2008.
Okay. Well, it was built in 95 though, wasn't it? The old jail?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's got serious problems on maintenance.
We got to use the old jail when the new jail was built. When I was
Okay.
highway patrol sergeant.
We don't use the old jail anymore. Yeah. It was decommissioned, what, Sheriff, 8 years ago,
Yeah, right.
8 or 9. Yeah. And those are things that we need to think about. So what direction are we heading? That's what I need your help to be considerate of what we have to do, what y'all have to do. That's just it. You know, do we add people? Do we leave it like it is? I can give raises, guys. Those don't hurt near as bad as adding more personnel. One new officer, even though it looks on the books, it's a $65,000 debt incurred just for the salary itself, really reflects more of about $120,000 per person because of benefits, equipment, cars, things like this. You know, so just gonna tell you, we're probably, and I say probably, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen, be a 5% across the board raise this year. 5%. For everybody, that's elected guys all the way down to the things that are working in the precincts, building roads. 5% there. I think that's as best we can do at the moment in consideration of what our potential debt service might be and the debt incurred if we push the button in this other regard. So there it is. I just wanted to lay it out there on the line and let you know. I mean, there's a lot of rumors that go around and people say, well, he ain't gonna give us nothing. No, that's not it. I mean, I get that all the time, and I'm probably sometimes the most scorned person in the county because of that. But it's because I get to look at everything. And these guys do too. So there it is. Future needs for all the Liberty County law enforcement efforts, yeah. I do anticipate, requests coming in, for equipment. You need new cars, no doubt about it. We've tried to do that with some of the stuff we buy from like Webster and places. And they're about half worn out when we get them, but at least they run, but we're still limited on what we can afford in that regard. I think last year we bought 12 new vehicles. Some of the constables got some, sheriff's department got some. But we're better than we used to be in that regard because at least we're looking at usage, mileage. When they're worn out, we do get rid of them. Equipment. Yeah, we have things like floods that come in. Those are not fun, but we've dealt with them. I think I'm in flood number 11 in 10 years being here. But we all know what we're supposed to do. We did get the public assistance aspect in this last disaster declaration. So at least the commissioners have funds that they can draw from through FEMA. But yet they pay it out of their pocket first. And then they get reimbursed through FEMA at 75%. Costs a lot of money. David, if water goes under, road goes underwater and there's nothing left of it, but they still have to provide that, or you don't have a place where you can go drive. So that's kind of it. I just wanted to let you know where we're sitting. It's considerations for what we need to do, considerations for what I anticipate we will be told we're going to do. Because the last thing I want to see happen is our jail get closed down because it's in non-compliance. That's it. And it could happen. Now, it's been this close in the past. And we jumped through hoops and spent a bunch of money and put additional personnel there, put it back underneath the sheriff's office to operate. If we don't have a jail, you don't have any place to put anybody you arrest. Anyway, y'all got any questions? I'd be glad to answer the best I can. If you got any questions or even the commissioners have any comments you'd like to make?
Well, not only the new jail we're trying to propose to put here, also we're proposing to buy the other 36 acres adjoining this. So the sheriff's department and all of this is not so compacted together. Where we actually on this property, we have 39 acres. It goes all the way back to the back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I got some comments, but I'd like to hear y'all's first and then we'll.
Judge, if I can just add something to it, y'all just approved a contract with Johnson County.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna house probably 50 to 60 inmates up there at $100 a day. In October, it goes to $105 a day.
and that's not including medical.
And that's not including the medical.
Right.
And the problem with it is gonna be, right now, our district courts do not want to do Zoom. So that means a lot of transport. The reason we're gonna have to put probably more in there is because the jail commission told us that when Judge Kane or Judge Moorfield want their 40 or 50 on their docket call, when we bring them back, we gotta be below capacity. Right now, we're bringing them back, and that's how they caught us, where they're sitting in our holding tanks, and our capacity was around 320 or so
It
that
was
we had.
338.
330, I think,
Yeah.
okay. So, but it's because of the transports having to come back, and as soon as they go to court, they leave. And that's what I told the inspector. If he'd have come later, looked a day or two later, they'd already been back, but they don't have any mercy.
No, well, that's their job. They're just doing their job. Yeah.
I got something real, quick. The jail also, not that everybody's here, looks like. Right now, we are not confirming on any misdemeanor warrants unless it's family violence related, assault related, so.
Yeah.
You know, my deputies are running across people that have 8 to 10 Class C warrants, misdemeanor theft warrants, and we're not able to make those arrests. And we're not, if it's a warrant to us, to our, county attorney's office and what have you, we're not confirming for the constables and DPS and all them. So if you're in Liberty County with a misdemeanor warrant, you're pretty much got to do what you want. We're not able to arrest all those because we would be at 400 within a couple days.
So, Captain,
And then,
I understand that, but consider Harris County, they're in the same boat.
right.
Times about
Everybody is.
by 1,000. Yeah.
everybody. All agencies, it's.
I know Harris County is.
It's just a game, these guys, they just.
Yeah.
They sit in the jail long enough until they get their, their sweetheart deal, their plea deal.
Yeah.
But it's causing a huge issue throughout
Yeah.
at least our county, because we're not able to, sometimes these folks need to be in jail. Able to make those arrests.
Well, Harris County, I know is housing some inmates in Florida. Think about that. I wouldn't mind going to Florida, David, but not go pick up an inmate.
That's the reason we're 100% behind building this jail. Got to have law enforcement facilities.
Right.
But right now, as it stands at $7 million a year, we really can, right into this year, this new year, we cannot afford that. But this jail wouldn't be built and completed for another 3 to 4 years. We're anticipating that much growth. Then we're able to pay that $7 million a year, but it's gonna take at least 7 million. And originally, I think we was looking at figures of 5.9 or 4.9.
Yeah.
And it's jumped up in the last year because of the cost of building.
Well, cost of building goes up anywhere from 1 to 1.5% per month.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 12% a year to 18% a year plus. Yeah.
So we put this off one more year, we could be looking at 10 million a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get some relief after this next year.
Yeah, I hope so. But we do have a lot of economic development growth coming in, which I prefer to see that industrial growth versus rooftop growth. And John, I'm talking about there, the more houses come in, the more problems you've got. But the more industry comes in, it's a hallelujah moment because you don't have to deal with those guys. Most of these industrial areas that are on the horizon, and I say on the horizon, they're quickly getting here. We just have to get some things worked out with electricity. That's whoever thought that would happen. We don't have enough wires running out to a certain location to put in industrial type development, but it's true. And we have one service company, which is Entergy. But yet 5 miles away, we have CenterPoint, which can provide it right now. But Entergy won't relinquish their rights. Boy, howdy. Can you imagine what game changer that would be overnight? I look forward to seeing industrial development because that's what we need. It's going to bring in better jobs, better paying jobs. But also with industry, comes the other things. You know, retail comes in their service industries to support those industries that are coming. And then rooftops for people to live in that work in those locations. So it's an exciting time in this county, but at the same token, it's got some really, really big hurdles to jump. And that's what we're tasked with making sure happens. And we want the right kind of business here. We're picky. We're real picky.
Well, let's hear from the constable. Since Tammy's not here, Mad Dog, let's tell her what you want. Huh? Oh, good. I assume you speak for all the constables. I guess we're through.
I don't really need any. We're handling our stuff pretty good.
Yep. Well, that's the good thing about constable's offices. You're specific to an area. And you know your people. That's even better. You know where the good folks and the bad folks live. Yeah. How's the SRO stuff working? School resource officers? Going good? Okay. David, you've got 4 SROs. Okay. Everything working good there? Okay. All right. John, you've got 2. Zach, you don't have any because they have a police department up there.
We're in the schools daily,
Okay.
sometimes multiple hours a day.
Yeah.
David, do you have anything you want?
One thing I'd like to see if I could get my part-time aide a full-time.
Yep.
You know, I understand the situation with the subdivision going in over there. Kind of hard to find somebody to work part-time. We can really need another person.
Yeah.
I got the 4 guys working at my school, so it's not gonna help, you know, control. Other than that, I'm good.
I need a 5% pay rate.
We can handle it.
You got there. Yeah.
Me and my people. Me and my people.
We got that. Okay. All right.
Tucker?
I'm good, Commissioner.
Robbie, I know you need 1.
Yeah, I'd like to have 1 new guy and 1 new vehicle. The vehicle that I'm getting, I'm putting all of my budget into the picture.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Other than that,
Okay.
We're needing two cars, but I think y'all have already got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I think Harold's department was calling y'all getting VIN numbers and serial numbers. I mean, not serial numbers.
There's
VIN numbers and your models and stuff.
There is one other thing on the, I hope I'm not speaking for everybody here, but, hopefully it is too, but we're on CopSync and I pretty much still handle a lot of the CopSync stuff for these guys as well, plus the jetpacks and all that stuff. So when they all need jetpacks, they all call me or something and I'm getting jetpacks for them, but I was trying to release it all to them. The CopSync thing, is there a possibility at some point that we could actually go to a generalized on the same computer system with them instead of CopSync? I mean, don't get me wrong, CopSync's great. And a lot of people love CopSync and it's a great system. But if we're county, I mean, I like to stay with, everybody on the same county system.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. I'm not speaking for y'all. and I apologize, but-
and Nick is on board with it too, that way everybody.
I think it'd be good.
And I think it's cheaper.
I thought we were supposed to do this anyway.
Yeah, I think it's cheaper. I think the initial setup. is more expensive. But once you're on it, it's cheaper than we're paying for CopSync, so we could save some money there.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to step in anybody's cover.
Zach, you on board with that too? Everybody on? Huh?
Exactly.
We're talking about these.
The what?
Okay.
Computer system. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe the system they are now, we use the civil process side of it a lot. It really helps. And ticket writing. We do write a lot of tickets. My understanding, those are 3 little entities that it can handle. that can do.
Tyler, yes.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, they have.
That does.
Both.
Then that's the only thing, and I think we save money in the long run.
What do we need to do to get that done?
Just need to get some, quotes put on.
Well, we had talked about this a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
A change.
It was really effective to get us started.
I think we was having some questions from the JPs about swapping. There was a lot of our JPs that did not want to swap. And some of
They were
our,
all on
Yeah,
data.
so-
yeah, net data.
Yeah, not even on cost of on that data, so
Yes,
anyway.
what we have to do is even, we send our hard copies in the mail to the JPs and they'll be doing the same thing if they want to.
Well, get us some numbers, we can plug that in.
Yeah.
We just
We
put Nick,
Tyler.
put that type of thing together?
Yes, he just needs to update the quote, because like Commissioner said, I think.
Okay, I think probably we need to get him to work. on it.
Tell you what, if you and Chad can work together and get with Nick and get us some numbers on that, let's see what we can do to help you out.
But what you got for now?
Builds up.
Yes. I agree.
Now, I'm trying to get a grant right now for a radio tower in Colony Ridge. So just thought I'd let you know
I
that.
got the budgetary quote on that. the other day.
Did, okay, yeah. And that's gonna take a little bit of time, but yeah, we need to get that taken care of because that's a dead spot. Really. Yeah,
Dak, you have something you want to add or?
Just real quick, for all the constables, I'm not sure, my dog says you're good, but maybe, go to 171 for our deputies. It's a little bit of a pay raise, and I think that it will help our operations out. A lot of times these guys are staying late. And we don't do a comp system, so the next day they either go home early or they come in late. I think with 171, they do that weekly, so 171 would smooth their operations out to when they would do that.
if y'all would consider, the weekend duties and night duties.
Well, we can't do nights with 3 deputies. There's a constable in Travis County Precinct 1. She has 24 deputies and she also doesn't do nights. This is just something you can look at. It's our mission statement with our strategic action plan. If you've seen this before, it has been changed.
Oh, it has?
I change it every few months. In fact, it'll be changed again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
Well, it's not a budget meeting, but then again, it's a planning meeting. I can tell you what we're looking at right now, is just holding the field as close as we can. Guys, with consideration of what has come in as far as, request. You know, Sheriff, we've always tried to put 4 in your department. I gotta ask you, how many open spots do you have right now that have been filled?
Today, we got it fixed.
6, okay.
We have 2 squaring in the morning.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
But still gonna be 4 that are left out. Okay.
You know, I'm not asking for any new deputy positions or investigator positions. If something comes out, I'd like to have a receptionist at the building completely.
Yeah.
Cover those lines. Permit deal goes through, if we need to assign a deputy, I'll need a deputy there.
Yeah. That's,
many openings do you have?
Today, I have 6, so I'm filled 2 tomorrow.
Okay.
They're squaring tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
when are, if we started next week, when are we looking at completion on the annex in Colony Ridge?
it's probably gonna be a 10-month project.
So it might be a issue we can address during our next
That's
budget.
considering all the materials stay on site.
When do you think they'll start?
We got it in Whitmire's report, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
There
yeah,
you go.
y'all do.
That's true.
I believe there'll
RV
be,
department across the gate.
sir,
We'll just find an RV department across the gate.
I can find you.
Mark,
What did you got, brother?
Well. Y'all pray a lot more.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him, right? So you know he's in Plum Grove and they are vehicles splitter. They only get down to 1 patrol vehicle. So I got 2 towers. I got one sitting out here and one at the county park. I would go back, transferring those over to Plum, as is.
Send the request to DD.
Approved by Commissioner's Court.
Yeah.
We've donated them 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. I guess the city would have to make a form request and
Yeah, Catherine, you can handle that. Give Dee Dee to put on the agenda. Yeah.
But also contact people with the city of Monroe. It would be a donation, but it would need to be, preferably like the agreement to be approved by the city of Plum Grove.
Yeah, it needs to be requested and approved, yeah. But, is Frank the chief down there now?
No, he's talking. I don't know who the chief is.
I don't either.
if they know who the chief is.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't think they've had a meeting yet on the chief.
Oh, yeah.
Very last for them, they haven't made it to.
They can't even decide on who's on the city council and the mayor, but that's a chief.
Yeah. They have a city council meeting tonight. Heard that.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll get an answer to that.
She said the next meeting they were gonna.
All right. All right. Well, just take it easy on us this year, y'all. And understand what we have to try to get done. We want to get this annex and Connie Ridge built. We'd hoped it had been done a year ago, but then again, the price just keeps going up. But at least we have the funds available to build it and get it started and get it built. And I think 10 months is pretty much reasonable to say. We keep working with Chief Knox and HGAC on the radio tower there. That's going to help out quite a bit. Any other stuff that we'll always consider. There's some things that we just got to say, hey, I'm rubbing those two nickels together and that's all I can do. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna have an in-person budget meeting this year, or is it gonna be just submitted?
I'll talk to you right now. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
wasn't prepared for that, so
Okay.
I didn't know if you planned on having an in-person budget meeting or.
We were doing that up until the COVID thing hit and then nobody would come. I'd get maybe 2 commissioners at one time and it was hard to sit down and make a decision with anybody. And so we just started saying, just submit it to us and we'll review it, but they still get to see it. Okay. So it's not going to be where it's not considered. It's just considered in different methods. Yeah. But, we did for probably 8 years, we did, where everybody met. And then COVID just wrecked that. But yeah, I've received a few requests and I'm still looking at them, but then again, I can't tell you yes or no on anything until we look at what the numbers are. And again, it's nothing personal, it's just business. I mean, we had to stay within our means. And right now, I'm not sure what our means are until we get we did receive our preliminary numbers from the CAD, but that's not the solid numbers that come from the CAD later this year, which usually is in late this month or in the middle of July. So we're in that time frame. And then once we get that, the process goes through Ricky Brown's office, where he does the computations. And then we look at what we used to call the effective rate and the rollback rate. Now they changed the name because it was confusing to everybody that's a taxpayer. They're not really sure what effective and rollback is. It's voter approval now on the top side. And we used to have about a 12-cent difference between those two numbers. And we had set it somewhere in the middle, which would anticipate growth and at least fund growth. So now we have maybe a 4-cent difference between old rollback and voter approval. Or excuse me, effective and voter approval. And at 4 cents is not much money wiggle room. But yet it was explained to me by the comptroller one time, the legislature makes policy. The comptroller enforces policy. That enforcement aspect is sent down to the taxing entities, which would go to well, to the CAD next, and then to individual entities like the cities and the county and the drainage district and WCID, all these other people that are inclusive. Everybody thinks the county gets all the money. That's as facetious as can be. We collect for everybody but two entities. We don't collect for Tarkington ISD and we don't collect for Devers ISD. They collect their own. But everybody in the world thinks that the county's getting billions of dollars. We don't. We don't get that. I've used this example before and I'll do it for y'all just so you can get a good idea. John, if this was your tax bill and it was $1,000. Oh, would that be cool? It's all you had to pay every year and have lower tax $1,000. Here's how it's cut up. First things first, school tax. And no matter how you cut it, that's $1,000. Well, that's $500 that goes to the school district. Now I've got this other $500. And I live in the city of Dayton. And city of Dayton and the county tax is comparable within a few $100s. So there's $250 that goes to the city of Dayton. This is the counties, y'all. And 50 to 55% goes to cradle to grave judicial, which includes y'all. Cradle to grave judicial, that's time that you arrest somebody, David, until the time there's a disposition. 55%. So I can take that and we're gonna cut it again from 250 down to 125. I got $125 left out of that $1,000. Well, there's M&O, things that, we have to buy nails to keep the roof on the courthouse and things like this, okay? So when you really kind of get down debt service, which really comes out first. Debt service always comes out first because you're gonna pay your bills, right? So I get down to the last, come and get me. And I've got road and bridge. There's road and bridge. I got to cut that 4 ways. So when people ask the question about my roads, how come they're not fixed? There it is. There it is. It's just business. And if you understand it in that regard, and the only people that can change the way it's done is the legislature. So unfortunately, people think that we control all of that. We don't. We have to live by the rules and the laws that are established. And we do. Or else I get a phone call from my auditor that says, I'm not paying that. Happens all the time. He will call me too. I'm not paying that bill. Okay. All right. If I do, I'll break the law. Okay. Simple. But there it is. I mean, that's economics 101 in a nutshell.
Yeah, man.
I've got a question on the civil with the county growing and the amount of papers you can serve. Is there any plans in the future if that's the bulk of it's gonna stay at the sheriff's office, or are we gonna try to divvy it up more, or what? I mean, is there any plans on the civil side out?
Well, I know that y'all do some and the constables do some. I've always been told that it's the constable's duty to perform all the civil service. So why y'all do it? I don't know.
It's out, the sheriff's office does do the civil paper in that. According to Texas Association of Counties, the fires that we get.
Yeah.
There you go. And it just said, the serve warrants and civil papers, that's what the sheriff's duty does, so. This, all the other lists, I got the list, all kinds of stuff, even got a list what you do, Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Constable, what's your feeling on transferring more of this civil process?
We at precinct, I'm not speaking for everybody, at precinct 2, we've made requests to get anything out of our precinct, send it to us, we'll handle it.
We've also made requests at the sheriff's office numerous times. If there's a call in our precinct, dispatch us.
Okay.
3 Charles 24, can I get you en route? I'll take any call there is, period. We've asked. We're not lazy. We don't rush calls.
Yeah, getting on the same system will be.
Yeah, and I brought that up too. We would gladly take the calls, but we can't see what they have holding.
We don't have a clue.
Yeah, you'll hear me on the radio ask, do you have anything holding his own
We'll
one?
do basic investigations.
So making everything Tyler would most definitely
Yeah,
help everybody around.
we've done team.
It definitely helps everybody.
Yeah.
So we just share information.
Yeah.
So when dispatch enters a person into Tyler, and these guys are on Tyler, then they can see all that pertinent information on, and their traffic stops. Tyler system is pretty amazing when it comes to, you have to put in the correct information, but if the correct information is inputted, it is searchable. I can run a license plate through the system, and it'll tell me which deputy stopped it, whether tickets were written, whether it was, I mean, it tells me everything, every time we come in contact with it.
And we have that with cop sync
We do that
history.
at Cop Sync.
If we run something, it'll show it has cop sync history, whether
If we get a call.
one of Robbie's guys got it or. That's correct. It's not.
Well, I think that's getting on the Tyler system. If we get that coordinated, we get that working, they call us.
Lee, how much is that to do?
And really, I mean, right now, we're having a lot of issues because I sit right above the JPs. So everything the JPs do that comes up for appeals or where, we get phone calls, hey, I have court today. We can't look at their stuff because they're on that data. But if we had everybody on the same Tyler system,
Yeah.
I'll give you, for example, I got an OCA notice that we had magistrated some, they said he was a juvenile. And he wasn't a juvenile, he was born in 79, they put the information wrong, but they didn't have any way to look it up. And all you had to do is look on Tyler and you see the information there. But that disjointed piece where we can't see what they're doing and they can't see what we're doing and they can't tie the two together is causing real problems. And it would be nothing to get them up. And the things that they complained about that weren't there when we initially did the conversion 4 years ago, those pieces are now in place. Defendant access and all of that, they can go online, do their tickets, no low, pay it, never come to, I mean, all that stuff is there on Tyler now that was missing 4 years ago. So I think they should take a hard look at it and try to convert. It would save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of errors, and it would make a difference for everybody if we could do it. So.
Go to the fire running underneath y'all's table.
That's the only thing that bites me in the
He's right under you. Y'all can do it.
Okay,
Find it? Yeah.
well,
Got some.
what are the chances of getting the JPs to go and accept?
They don't really have,
If we could get them to take a look at it, I think they can show them the functionality is there now, and then we can work out a plan to move them over to the system. I think it's good.
Well, I know,
If you want some numbers, I can get the Tyler people to work out some numbers.
That's gonna be your mistake, because a lot of times they'll piggyback something cheaper on there.
What JP do we have here?
If you were to get the JP and call the constable, they'd come down on their price quite a bit.
I think, well, we're already there. I mean, they're adding, another.
Yeah, Larry, you still here on speakerphone?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think about the Tyler?
It was much more difficult to use. Takes us just 3 or 4 steps to enter a ticket. Was taking 10 steps with Tyler to enter that same ticket. And just conversing with JPs in other counties, every one of them told us, no, do not do it. In fact, Montgomery County had some of the JPs had to sue their own county to keep the JP system, and they won. So to keep the Tyler out of their JP system and keep that data in there. So unless it's changed, I mean,
what was the basis of the suit?
look at that, it's changed and it's an easier system to use.
They've changed a lot, Larry. I mean, I wish y'all take another look at it. They've made quite a few improvements. They've added a lot more layers to it. There's a lot of very specific JP software I think you guys would like. It would be worth taking a look at again. Considering all the issues with
We went all this the last time, and we realized it was going to be two systems. There was talk about building a bridge from Tyler over to NetData, and that just never got done. So if that bridge was built, then there would be an easy access between the two.
Well, I think it all needs to be on one system.
Larry, would y'all consider sitting down together with Lee and with the representatives and seeing what it looks like, if it's better now?
Well, Jay, I understand that, but if you'll remember when we had that meeting, Judge Metz from Montgomery County, where Montgomery County went to the Tyler system, it cost them an extra $6 million that wasn't accounted for. And so by the JP's not going, it saved that county a lot of money.
Well,
That's one of the things we'll have to evaluate when we start looking at the whole operation.
Yeah.
But
that was how many years ago, Larry? 6 years ago?
No, I don't think it's been that long, 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, Judge Metz is gone now.
yeah, he'd been gone 6 years.
I know he's gone now, but also the Chambers County people were there, if y'all will recall, telling us, no, do not do it.
Okay. Let's have that conversation with them too and see where we're sitting. It's just consideration is all I'm asking, is consideration.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're open-minded.
Thank you.
It's just, it wasn't the user-friendly for the JP system. And if y'all recall, the data system was built for the JP courts.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was very user-friendly for the JP courts. So I understand that the other departments had difficulty with it, but and they just didn't mesh. So I'm not going to speak for the other JPs, but I'm open-minded if it's user-friendly now. They changed it to where it's not difficult for us to use. But from the conversations we had with other JPs and other counties, they considered it to be a nightmare for them.
Well, it might be friendlier than the new puppy.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's try it again just to see, and let's satisfy everybody that we can. If you can get with Lee, and chat with her, and then we'll go from there. We can get everybody on the same page. Leon, are you there with us?
I'm here.
You got anything?
No, I'm just taking this all in.
You've never been without an opinion, Leon. Come on.
I'll have one sooner or later.
Okay. All righty. Anybody got anything else?
Opposed to the changes and do everything that we're currently doing, but I'm telling you, everybody that I've talked to, it's on the program that has Tyler and has switched over to Tyler. It's planes that's been on our program that switched over to Tyler. It's going to switch because court level, everything may work, but as far as all the way down to the ticket writing and the stuff on a daily basis, it's just not capable.
Yeah. You know, I got dragged kicking and screaming in the computer age, literally, and I still don't know how to operate one. But if we would just take a moment, maybe consider it, is all I'm asking.
Hey, David.
If they could bring it, if they could come out and send a representative, he could show that he can do everything that we're currently doing.
Yeah.
Be glad to.
Okay.
You know, we've got an advantage in that, you know, other county entities have been using this stuff for 4 years and they're kind of work cooking. And they've added some new ways. It's not quite the same as what you looked at before. I think it would be worth taking to look at where they're at and see if it's a possibility. It
And
would
I'm not
definitely,
opposed to that. Like I said, it'll do everything that we're currently able to do. I don't have a problem with it. But if
they,
everybody I've talked to says the same.
well, let me say this, the Texas Supreme Court just mandated that everybody goes to criminal e-file. So all of our paperwork's about to get electronic in the last area, which is what you guys deal with, which is the criminal side. For our county, it has to be up and running by March first. So, I mean, like it or not, they're kind of pushing it to where we've got to be able to do this, you know, communication electronically and not with papers. It's not just us saying, hey, it would be good if y'all could do it. I mean, the state's kind of shoving us in that direction. I think it would be worth looking at. I think it'll save us a lot of headaches in the future, especially if they're mandating more and more of this e-filing. So that's just my opinion, but it would help a lot if y'all could take a look at it. Because we have to take everything we get from the JPs and re-enter it up into Odyssey. They're not communicating together, and it'd be great if they did.
Okay.
I think we're obligated to look at every possibility that anything that would make things more efficient.
David's gonna like this one, like from Apple to Android. Somebody get me an Android phone. I can't even turn it on most of the time.
Everybody's
But
on one system.
It does the same thing.
Well, there's gonna be learning purpose regardless.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think you should ask the Port of Mount Belt, they use the system every day. I mean, are they happy with it? Do y'all? Captain, I mean,
What's that?
like Tyler, have you heard?
Well, I mean,
Obviously, your deputy.
your system has its issues. I mean, we have a few issues. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about, as far as Tyler goes, it's all about inputting the correct information and being diligent about doing that, because when we got the system, it was empty. You know, there was no, people. I mean, sometimes you search a person that we've dealt with for the last 20 years. And all that information did not merge together to one person. So there's 20 different people, they're the same person, but it's listed 20 different times. So when we come across that, we have to take the time and merge all that stuff together. Now it's user friendly for that one person that we're looking for.
A human error, but that not only in the detail.
Well, thing was back when we had that data, women, their last name changes. So when we had to go update that data, we'd have, on a female, we'd type in the driver's license number, because that doesn't change. Well, you'd have 4 different women listed under the same driver's license number or 4 different last names. You can merge it together. Well, now it's just a whole list of names that you have to go one by one to merge together. It's just a computer system. It just takes time to.
Yeah, Miss Ford, Chevy, Dodge, I mean, they're not all perfect. They're all, every single one, Southern Software, Tyler, Christie, Thompson. They all have issues.
I think it's a whole lot better than net data, and it doesn't even compare to Cushing's, the old we had. I mean,
The main thing is the constable are gonna be able to see all the calls.
Yeah.
Cause all dispatch is on there.
Yeah.
So they be able to see any calls because we're not, sometimes we don't have time to call a constable because it's an in progress call. And they could just see it and go,
They might be closer.
exactly, but without the system.
So where y'all going? Right.
Yeah.
So just don't do that.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, IT changes, I'll tell you all that. My last semester at A&M offered to take a course called computer aided drafting. And I said, no, I'll be using a drafting table the rest of my life. And 3 years later, all I was using was CAD, computer aided drafting, and I still use it today. That's just the change. I didn't like it. Oh, I did not like working with a computer, but you learn how. So maybe it's time to go back and look at it one more go round, guys. And just have an open mind.
She's just lucky. We had a computer. When I graduated in tech, I had a slide rule.
Couldn't find any NIBR stuff on the constable's office in the last 6 years.
And Tyler does. So
Our Brazos system, which is part of the Tyler system as far as the ticket writing. It does all our racial profiling for us.
Right. Well, we still have to submit it as an agency.
Yeah.
They will give us the report, Yes.
Yeah, we haven't submitted to, but some of my deputies, if their battery goes down or their ticket ride or what have you, they have to hand write a ticket. If they hand write a ticket, then that ticket goes to our records division and then they manually input it into Brazos. So that way, when it's time for racial profiling report, we just submit off of Brazos. So that way it's all like CVE, all the CVE citations are not linked into, because it's under a MOU through DPS. So they're not linked together. So records division has to input all of those CVE citations into Brazos so that it's a complete report for racial profiling. But it does all that, so.
Okay. All right, anything else anybody can think of? Just want to lay it out there where what we're staring at. But, and I've seen a lot of things since I got here in the last almost 10 years now, Sheriff. You've been here 12.
Yeah.
Probably you've been here since they made the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
It,
Mayflower.
yeah, the Mayflower, yeah, it would ever thought. We'd be sitting where we are today and trying to come up with some good decisions that would help everybody. And, if what we can do in this endeavor alone, start a conversation, everybody works together even better than we have in the past, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
we've had a lot of growth. We're gonna get a lot of growth. And law enforcement, since we've been here, law enforcement's kind of been a priority because we know without good law enforcement, we're not gonna get the kind of growth we want.
We're set.
I've been on both sides of this table. I've been over there arguing with Lee Gross and Melvin Hunt and Judge Kirkham. And now then, we're looking at the big picture and we look at everybody's needs, but law enforcement's still a priority, gonna be a priority for.
It's in my book. I think we've made some pretty good strides in the last 10 years, especially. Trying to get it to where at least compensation is comparable. And in some cases, better than other counties. But the main thing is getting people to come to work here and stay here. That's it. And for the most part, I think everybody wants to stay. You go somewhere else, you gotta start over. Stay here. Treat you as best we can. Okay. Brother Carl, anything else you can think of?
I've got it covered.
I don't know. Good Lord willing, we got it covered. Just it. But those are things that I had blonde hair before all this started, y'all.
I had hair.
Yeah, there you go. Thank y'all. Appreciate everything.
Oh.